Coming up on Network Africa, Mali's foreign minister says the government will break fuel blockades in Bamako, accusing foreign intelligence of terrorism in the country. United Nations urges Libya to shut down migrant detention centers in the country. Plus, Africa Nenda launches the CIPS 2025 report highlighting progress in Africa's digital economy. Hello and welcome to the program. It's the last episode for the week. I'm Layo Olande. We begin in Mali, where the Foreign Minister Abdoulaye Diop has rejected reports suggesting that militant groups could seize the capital, Bamako, asserting that the security situation in the capital is under control. During a press conference, Mr. Diop outlined the government's strategy to address the fuel blockade and the security crisis. He says gradually hundreds of trucks are arriving daily to resume the supply to Bamako and other localities in the country. This comes after the jihadist group JNIM reportedly escalated attacks and blocked fuel convoys from neighboring countries, causing shortages in Bamako and other cities and disrupting transport and essential services. In the meantime, a new report says Mali is facing a dramatic escalation in insecurity as jihadist groups have carried out a record number of kidnappings targeting foreigners, especially this year. According to data from the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data, ACLED, it's a global monitor that collects and analyzes and maps data on conflicts and protests. At least 22 to 26 foreign nationals were abducted between May and October 2025, and this is the highest figure ever recorded in the country. The number nearly doubles the previous record of 13 kidnappings in 2022. Victims include Chinese, Indian, Egyptian, Emirati, and Iranian nationals, as well as several people from the Balkans, a Serbian and a Bosnian. These abductions are attributed largely to the JNIM Al-Qaeda-linked coalition operating across the Sahel region. Brazil is seeking to land a compromise at the ongoing climate change conference as some nations seek to put ambitious climate action and financial obligations on the summit agenda. These are some of what are tagged flashpoints that have stalled past negotiations. Brazil says it has been successful in finding a middle ground among countries and says parties have engaged in open and honest discussions. Our correspondent Ayola Kasim looks at some of the pending issues at the conference.
Across the COP30 venue, in the negotiating rooms, the meeting rooms, the pavilions and the side events, the financial needs on how to reduce emissions, adapt to the impact of climate change, and deal with the devastation it is causing is dominating conversations.
Sources of finances.
The Director General of the Nigerian Conservation Foundation speaks to the country's experience on nature-based solutions, highlighting what needs to change within the process.
When you talk about conservation to local communities, they want to see what's in need for them. What was in need for them? You want them not to go into the forest to cut down the trees, to sell timber, or to hunt animals. Meanwhile, their children need to go to school, their children need healthcare, their children need social amenities, and so on. So they need to see that benefit coming on board. So FCLP is helping us to develop that country package that will be able to help us have resources trickling down to the communities themselves. Not a situation whereby you have a lot of structures where even you have different big funding organizations, big funds being disbursed for conservation activities, but it's being funded through a lot of structures. And before you know it, almost 75% of the money is used to fund the structure, while only 25% trickle down to the main action on the ground.
The long-awaited Loss and Damage Fund, which is mainly to fulfill developed countries' commitment to climate finance finally got approved on the first day of COP30, but many issues are yet to be tackled. For instance, how to increase the fund from the current $250 million and to improve the language of the text.
And more language that will actually speak of how we can access the funds, how the funds is going to be used to assist the developing countries. And then we are also looking at more commitments from the developed countries.
As we approach the end of week one, negotiations continue on issues that could shape the final outcome of the talks. The COP30 presidency bypassed the early procedural deadlock by kickstarting consultations on long-standing flashpoints like the public climate finance, which is Article 9.1, the unilateral trade measures, and the review of countries' climate plans.
On the one hand, there is a very strong message in support of multilateralism, in celebration of unity around the 10-year anniversary of the Paris Agreement, and on the other hand, that we respond to urgency by accelerating implementation and international cooperation.
With consultation getting extended till Saturday with developed and developing countries, continue to show deep divisions, in particular on public finance, pressure is mounting for the presidency to chart a path forward that builds confidence that obligations to provide public finance will be met. From the Hangar Convention and Fair Center of the Amazon in Belém, Brazil, Ayola Kasim, Channels Television News.
Well, Libya is facing renewed pressure to shut down detention centers across the country, where rights groups say migrants and refugees face abuse and in some cases are killed. At the United Nations, countries including Britain, Spain, Norway and Sierra Leone raised alarm over the treatment of migrants in Libya, a key transit point for Africans fleeing conflict and poverty towards Europe. Some migrants have been held in warehouses by traffickers, subjected to violence and extortion. A Dutch court case exposed grim details, while a UN agency says bodies found in mass graves bore gunshot wounds. In an open letter, rights groups accused armed factions of operating with impunity, blocking justice and committing widespread abuses against these migrants in Libya. The scale of the need in Sudan is absolutely increasing and incredible, coming at a time of unprecedented cuts to humanitarian assistance around the world. And this is according to the IOM Director General, Amy Pope. She was addressing the press from Khartoum, the Sudanese capital. She also talked about the current displacement crisis, especially from El Fasher, where 90,000 people have been displaced in the last 2.5 weeks, and another 50,000 or so displaced from the Kordofans.
I'm in Khartoum and here in Sudan because of the significant scale of the current displacement crisis. You're all seeing the reports from El Fasher. We have seen 90,000 people displaced in the last 2.5 weeks from El Fasher, another 50,000 or so displaced from the Kordofans. What we're also seeing is that when people are coming out of the area, they are reporting widespread violence, sexual abuse, civilians who are sometimes being shot on site. Many described leaving the area and seeing dead bodies along the way, some because those who are unable to flee have been left behind in the haste to get to somewhere safe, some because they've been met with violence. The scale of the need is absolutely incredible, but of course it is coinciding at a time when there have been unprecedented humanitarian cuts to humanitarian assistance around the world. This, over the course of the next several weeks, the leadership from the humanitarian agencies making a trip to Sudan, our goal is in a coordinated fashion to ensure that the scale of needs is widely known, to make sure that we have the resources that are available. For example, the Emergency Relief Coordinator, Tom Fletcher, just arrived. We are communicating. Often the current deputy of WFP is also in town. Collectively, we're hoping that by driving awareness, by visiting various parts of the country, we can provide a comprehensive picture to the world of what needs to happen to support especially vulnerable civilians who are fleeing violence.
Well, 45 years of diplomatic relations between Nigeria and South Korea, and the Koreans are looking forward to more prosperous economic relations. Charge d'affaires for the embassy in Nigeria, Mr. Tak Namgung, says already existing Korean companies in Nigeria are investing in vocational training and education to deepen the relations. Mr. Tak was speaking during a joint seminar between the Nigerian Institute of International Relations and the Embassy of the People's Republic of Korea. The NIIA Director General, Professor Ehosa Osage, says Nigeria can learn from the South Korean experience, which has produced such a great, strong, and developed nation.
Korea and Nigeria spans 45 years of diplomatic relations, and it is worth having a more prospering economic collaboration between the two countries. Now is the time, and time has come, and we are ready to do a contribution. When it comes to Daewoo ENC, Samsung Heavy Industries, and LG, and some other Korean companies are investing in Nigeria, and they provide vocational education and vocational training and education, and we believe it is mutually beneficial for the future of Nigeria, and as well as the Korean companies for their diversifying their destination, the trade destination. Oh, yes. For now, from Nigeria we import oil and gas, and it is a fundamental source for economic development. But at the same time, we also see an opportunity for trade for the more value-added products, and that's why we are here. Some Korean companies are here, not just for oil and gas and the fundamentals, but for more concrete, in-depth collaborations.
Well, South Korea is one of those countries that you would call 20th and 21st century miracles. South Korea has moved from being an agrarian, subsistence-based economy, basically non-industrialized, to a country that is not only industrialized, but one of the world's $1 trillion economies. And South Korea entered that category such a long time ago. So the question is, there must be something about the South Korean experience, especially also given the fact that it had a colonial history, and it had all of these obstacles and challenges that we identify today as major obstacles to our growth and progress.
In Ghana, tensions over the detention of West African migrants deported from the United States has escalated as the Supreme Court adjourned a human rights challenge against the government's deportation agreement with Washington until the 26th of November. The adjournment came just a day after reports of a volatile incident involving the forced removal of deportees from their temporary accommodation, prompting outrage from lawyers and rights advocates. The court session held in Accra was convened to hear an application seeking disclosure of the U.S.-Ghana bilateral agreement and an injunction against further removals, but proceedings were postponed. Human rights lawyer Oliver Barker Vomawo, who leads the legal team representing the migrants, said that deportations appear to have gone ahead despite ongoing legal objections.
Consider our application for disclosure to disclose the agreement that Ghana has entered into with the U.S. government. That was the purpose of today's hearing, as well as to consider an injunction application against the government. The court has asked us to assist it further and file legal submissions in connection with its decision, and that's what we are looking to do within the week. Yesterday, the immigration officials of Ghana made an attempt to drag out of their residents some of the deportees that were brought into the country and deport them. We as lawyers appeared on behalf of the individuals. We conversed with the immigration officials asking that under our law, whether they had one, a court order authorizing the deportation or executive instruments of the minister, none of which they had. The persons that the immigration was looking to deport were persons who had protection orders against their removal to their countries of origin. And they were hard-pressed to continue to impress upon the immigration authorities why they cannot be in their countries of origin. The immigration authorities would not listen to them. They were practically dragged out on the floor and taken away. We are disappointed in the treatment of persons that Ghana has received, whether or not validly or legally under an agreement. We have an obligation of humanity to individuals, to persons that we call our fellow West Africans, and we are disappointed in the course of action that have taken place.
I went there to visit them. So as I went there, through conversation, we became friends. And that's how come that relationship came between me and her. As I speak with her that time, or in the morning that I went there, it's like she don't know. They just called that they are coming to pick her. And they didn't tell her where they are picking her to. And she asked, but they didn't tell her anything, no information, nothing. They just said, it should pack. They are coming to pick her. That's what she told me.
Let's take a break now on the program. Still to come. South African aquaponics fish and veg farm tackles food insecurity and water scarcity. That's on our Africa Tech segment. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Back here in Nigeria, the Lagos State government has urged residents to collaborate with the government in developing sustainable and thriving food systems in the state. The Deputy Chief of Staff, Mr. Sam Egugbe, who was speaking on behalf of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, made this comment at the Lagos Agri-Innovation Summit 2.0. He says Lagos must be seen not just as a state, but as a national asset whose growth and innovation holds the key to Nigeria's economic transformation. Our correspondent, Titilayo Abereowo, reports.
Young farmers, members of the Lagos Agri-Innovation Club, students of the Lagos Agripreneurship Program, officials of the Lagos State Ministry of Agriculture and Food Systems, senior government officials, and other stakeholders in the food sector converge on Victoria Island, Lagos, for the Lagos Agri-Innovation Summit 2.0. The State Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Systems, Abisola Olusonya, who initiated the program, says the Agri-Innovation Club plays a vital role in the Produce for Lagos program, launched in July 2025. And the club is also instrumental in implementing the Ministry's Agricultural and Food Systems Roadmap, launched in 2021.
The Agri-Innovation Club is pivotal to the Produce for Lagos program, a program that seeks to strengthen our production base, connect rural producers to urban markets, and ensure that Lagos consumes what Lagos produces. The energy and ingenuity of our youth are central to making that happen. I have seen glimpses of this future already. Young innovators turning rooftops into farms, converting waste into feed, creating tech platforms that connect farmers and buyers in seconds. These stories remind us that transformation does not begin with grand gestures. It begins with one idea, one connection, one act of courage.
Other state commissioners also lend their voices in supporting and creating a smart, sustainable future for youths in the agriculture space.
We see emerging here from smart farming solutions to agri-fintech platforms and food processing technology. We're not only addressing food security, we are opening new doors of opportunity for young people across the state.
Our goal is simple. It's simple but ambitious, to ensure that Lagos State sustains a thriving technology-driven agricultural economy that nourishes our people, supports our businesses, and contributes meaningfully to national GDP growth.
The Deputy Chief of Staff, who represented Governor Sanwo-Olu, reaffirms government's commitment towards ensuring food sustainability and driving national development through innovation and food security.
Lagos is the biggest food market in sub-Saharan Africa. So no more do you say because we do not have enough land in Lagos, you cannot grow enough food. The land we have, plus the innovation which you bring, is all that we require.
33 of them received support fund ranging from 7.5 million naira, 5 million, 2 million, 1 million, among others.
I won 5 million naira, and it's really amazing because this will help my business to scale.
I'm so happy from the depth of my mind. This is going to skyrocket my business.
None of the people here are known personally to any one of us. We just put out a call to Nigerians, young Nigerians in the food space, to come in, showcase what they need to do and why they need funding, and we support. So we are believing that there will be that reciprocity also with regards to show us what you have utilized the monies for.
A total of 150 million naira has been disbursed to agripreneurs to support their business, enhance productivity, promote sustainability, and improve overall efficiency within the agricultural sector. Titilayo Aberewo, Channels Television News.
In South Africa, the Africa Nenda Foundation has launched the State of Inclusive Instant Payment System, SIPS 2025 report in Ezulwini Kingdom of Eswatini, and it's in partnership with the Central Bank of Eswatini, the World Bank, and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA. The report reveals that significant progress is being made towards strengthening Africa's digital economy, with growing efforts to make financial systems more instant, inclusive, and accessible across the continent. Our correspondent, Innocent Samosa, has more.
Now in its fourth edition, the event brought together several African Central Bank governors, including representatives from Mozambique, Somaliland, Botswana, Sierra Leone, and Zimbabwe. Organizers of the report say it aims to provide data-driven insights to help policymakers, regulators, and industry leaders build a more inclusive and connected financial ecosystem across the continent. However, digital literacy and infrastructure gaps across Africa remain a major challenge that requires urgent attention.
My comment was around the cost of infrastructure on the continent, and I think one of the things we need to do is to get together as a continent and negotiate with the OEMs to ensure better prices for Africa. I don't think that the prices we pay sometimes for most of the equipment on the continent, the infrastructure, is a proper price, and I think it's most times overpriced, and that's what I meant. And if we have to lower costs of providing services across the continent, then we have to start by looking at the cost of the infrastructure itself.
I had a chat with some delegates to discuss the issues and challenges surrounding digital payment systems in their respective countries.
For lack of financial education or literacy, if you go to some of the rural areas or the last mile communities, you tend to find, for ease of transaction, people just leave all of that in the open, and it's readily available for anybody to be able to tamper with. So fraud is one of the things we are seeing when it comes to some of the challenges we are witnessing in driving seamless payments.
Yeah, so I think the key thing is interoperability. I think we've heard a lot about people coming in and out of the ecosystem. So, you know, the cashing out and people, because the solutions aren't interoperable. So even if you do bring somebody into an ecosystem, I think having that interoperability between all the different solutions is really, really key. And I think also sharing data within the ecosystem to protect those users as well. So going back to my point before about financial crime prevention.
Well, the idea here is to build a digital ecosystem that transform people's lives, especially in the rural areas, to make sure that nobody is left behind in the digital economy. From Eswatini, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television.
Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. A greenhouse and aquaponics farm in northeastern South Africa is addressing food insecurity and climate change by combining fish and vegetable farming using a water-efficient solar-powered system. Founded in 2022, the farm integrates aquaculture and hydroponics, recirculating rain-harvested water to grow vegetables and raise freshwater fish using 96% less water than traditional methods. At the farm, researchers tend to the crops and feed fishes at the facility while monitoring the water in the smart recirculation device. The initiative is managed by Conservation South Africa and Fresh Ministries. Besides food production, it also plays a key role in youth education, offering hands-on agricultural training and tours for students. South Africa is experiencing climate-related challenges that highlight the growing vulnerability of its coastal regions to extreme weather, which scientists warn will become more frequent and severe as global temperatures continue to rise. And as we end the program for today, here's a fun fact about the continent. Did you know that Gabon is known for its rich biodiversity? About 85% of the country is covered by tropical rainforests, making it one of Africa's most biodiverse regions. Gabon is also home to a significant population of western lowland gorillas. It's a sanctuary for the critically endangered mammals, and its national parks are known for their populations of the great apes. And that's it on the program for today and for the week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde. Have a lovely weekend.